Terps are in Evanston for a conference clash against the Wildcats. Our coverage begins at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. You can only see Maryland Northwestern here on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. If you're a Twitter guy, an X person, whatever you want to call it, you follow Rapheal Davis. If you don't, then you're not doing social media right. He is ranking the best player at every position in the Big Ten. And according to Rapheal, in one word, it is tough. Have to agree on that, but let's put the man's feet to the fire as we get him to rank by position. Now, there's a different conversation. And before we get into it, you and I have just finished this conversation. It's very different if you're ranking just the 5 best players in the Big Ten, or if you're ranking the 5 best players, one at each position. Totally different ballgame.
Yeah, completely different. And before I go into this list, especially when I think about my first position at the point guard, Braden Smith makes this list. Braden Smith is one of the better point guards in the country. But for me, if I'm going for
Hold on now. You're already couching this. You haven't even gotten to your number one guy yet.
I'm going, my number one guy is Dylan Harper.
Okay.
Because I think Dylan Harper is the best player in this conference. Pound for pound, skill for skill, I think Dylan Harper is a pro. I think Dylan Harper will be the first or second draft pick in the 2025 NBA draft. You think what he did out in Vegas. It was 37 against Alabama, extremely efficient. He followed that game up the next night, 36 points against Notre Dame. He can get downhill at 6'5", 215 pounds. He come off that ball screen and make some magic, make some noise. He can get to his pull-up game. He can knock down a three. Dylan Harper's a pro. I think Dylan Harper's one of those guys that's going to go to the next level and end up an all-star, play 10, 15 years in the NBA and being extremely successful. And as my next point guard, like I said, I love Braden Smith, but Kasparas Giakoušonis. Because again, Kasparas Giakoušonis is a top 5 NBA draft pick, and he's doing it at a high level in college basketball already this season. You think for the season, averaging 17 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. He's 50% from the field. He's 42% from 2. 42% from the three-point line. And in conference play, he's raised his game a level. 20 points a game in conference play. We've seen game winners. We've seen go-ahead baskets. When Illinois needs a basket, they go to Kasparas Giakoušonis. The game he did not play against USC, they got ran out of the gym. So Kasparas is showing the country that you can win with freshmen, you can excel with freshmen when you have one at the level of Kasparas.
I agree with you on Dylan Harper. I think he will be the better NBA prospect. Right now, I would say that Giakoušonis has been better at this point in the season for the Illini. Now, Harper's been phenomenal as well, but he also got hurt, missed a game or two. You saw Giakoušonis miss those 2 games, and in the second game that he missed, Illinois' offense was a completely different animal. Could not go wrong with either of those choices. All right, let's go to the shooting guard. We talked a lot about Jaden Akins earlier in the show, but he is not your number one at that position.
Yeah, my number one shooting guard is the smoothest player in the Big Ten. I call him a smooth killer, and it's Bryce Williams. When you think of a shooting guard at the highest level, you think of players like Bryce Williams. He is that prototype. He's 6'7", 215 pounds. He can get downhill and finish at the basket. He'll post you up and hit you with a turnaround. He has a great mid-range game with get to that step back, and then he's 40% from deep. He is 50% from 2, 40% from 3, 91% from the line. That's what you want in your 2 guard. We've seen him go for 28 at Iowa. We've seen him go for 30 against Hawaii. Bryce Williams can flat out score the ball, and for my 2 guard, put that thing in a bucket, lock up on the other end. My guy Bryce gets it done.
But you do have Jaden Akins at number 2 having a terrific year for Michigan State.
Oh, for sure. I think Jaden Akins is the best two-way player in this league right now. He gets the job done defensively. He guards the best opposing wing every single night. You see what he did to Brooks Bernheiser. Brooks is one of the better scorers in this conference. Held him to 4 points. So I got to have a guy that can guard, that can defend on the perimeter. He's a knockdown shooter. He can make shots. His percentages may not show it right now. Made 3 against Penn State. Jaden Akins is my guy.
Brooks Barnhizer, interestingly enough, that's a professional television segue on your part because he is your number 1 small forward in this league.
Yep, one of my favorite players to watch, a true utility guy, a Swiss Army knife. Brooks Barnhizer can do it all. I'm going to read you his averages, not his stat line from a certain game, but his season averages. 18 points a game, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2.5 steals, and he's getting a block per night. Brooks Bernheiser can play 1 through 5. He can handle the ball for you. He can guard in the post. He can post up. He gets to that one leg turnaround and knocks it down. And he's not scared. He's not tough. You saw his teeth flying out at Mackey Arena, and he continued to play in the game. I need toughness on that wing. I need some defense. I need someone that can handle it, and Brooks Barnhizer going to do it all. He's just a winner.
You've already mentioned one young Scarlet Knight in Dylan Harper as your number 1 point guard. The second guy, Ace Bailey, is your number 2 small forward.
Yeah, because I'm going off of all talent. The record doesn't matter to me. How your team is playing doesn't matter to me. Ace Bailey is a baller. He's going to be a top 3 draft pick. There's a theme here. I'm going with all NBA guys. You think of Dylan Harper, Kasper Shakashonis, Ace Bailey's right there. That game at Indiana a couple weeks ago was incredible. 39 points in the game, 8 rebounds, 4 blocks on 55% from the field. Ace Bailey had 39 points against Indiana, and he missed 5 free throws. Kid can just straight out score. And you look at the bad shots he takes, the one-legged step backs, the bad threes he takes, he's still 47% from the field. My guy's a bucket, going to play in the league for a long time, a 6'10" shooting guard.
My favorite category by position here is power forward because you have Danny Wolf at number 1, which makes a ton of sense based on what he's done, but he plays this position so much differently than anybody else, not just in this league, in the country.
Yeah, I was talking to our producer, Pavlos, and you can really argue Danny Wolf is Michigan's point guard, especially in the half court. But I love his impact. He's averaging 12 and 10 on the season, but his game goes so much further than that. You think of that West Coast trip where they took down USC, they took down UCLA. Danny Wolf was a problem. 17 points a game in those two, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 3.5 blocks, a couple steals. He's a knockdown shooter from 3 at 7 foot. He can do it all. He's one of the only guys in the country that I trust getting the defensive rebound, pushing it full court, not just making a play for himself, but making a play for a teammate, and that's extremely hard at 7 foot.
And the guy you have listed just behind him, a much more traditional power forward, the young fella from Maryland, Derek Queen.
Yeah, Derek Queen, a true power forward, 6'9", 6'10", hard-nosed, physical, big. He can get down low on that block, and he has PhD level footwork. And as a freshman, he is not afraid to bang and boogie. He will get right in your grill. He will go finish at that rim. He will run in transition as a big. Bigs don't like to run, and Derek Queen is always getting out and running. You see him knock down threes at Purdue. His full game was on display there. He's a good passer. He's a good teammate. And then that game against Minnesota, his defense stepped up to the plate. Derek Queen, another first-round draft pick that we have sitting right here in the Big Ten.
Kevin Willard absolutely loves Derek Queen. You just hope you can keep him in College Park for a little bit longer than most of us expect he will actually be in college. I'm imagining, correct me if I'm wrong, the center position may have been the hardest one for you to differentiate. At number 1, you have Vlad Golden, maybe some recency bias. He had 36 points for the Michigan Wolverines recently. But he has given Dusty May, I think, everything that Coach May expected when he came along with him from FAU. Yeah,
for sure. And to start the season, it wasn't that great. But he figured it out over the last few games. He has been balling. Yeah, it was the 36 points at UCLA. They had no answer for the big fella inside. But you look at conference play, Vlad Golden's leading the Big Ten in scoring. He's averaging 22 points a game in conference play, 6 rebounds. His ability to go finish at the rim has been special. And I think he's learning it a bunch from Danny Wolf. You see Vlad Golden putting the ball on the ground a little bit more this season, driving it with that right hand to the rim. Michigan is so talented this season because, they make shots on the perimeter. Yeah, Danny Wolf is a unicorn, but they have a guy you can throw it down to, and he's going to produce every single time, more times than not. Vlad Golden has been a load since transferring in from FAU.
And I'm guessing not far behind Golden on this list is a guy we've already talked about a little bit on this show, Purdue's Trey Kaufman-Renn.
Oh, yeah, Trey Kaufman-Renn is right there. I think Trey Kaufman-Renn is the best low-post scorer. When you give him the ball in that block and it's one-on-one, as long as it's 15 feet or in, Trey Kaufman-Renn is going to give you a bucket. An old-school power forward. You think Karl Malone, you think all those guys that played in the 90s, Trey Kaufman-Renn is right there with them. Ball screen action, doesn't matter. One-on-one in the post, doesn't matter. He takes a double team, he's going to make the right play. I think Trey Kaufman-Renn is one of those guys in the country that is not being talked about enough. He stayed his time, he's waited his time, he trusts Coach Painter, he played behind the National Player of the Year. This season, he's a first-team All-Big Ten caliber player. Trey Kaufman-Renn is a dude.
So mark it down now. Harper, Williams, Barnhizer, Wolf, Golden. Rapheal said it on January the 16th. We'll wait a couple of months to see if he is dead on when the All-Big Ten first team is official. For Rapheal and Howard, I'm Rick. Thanks for watching Big Ten Today.